Hey everybody, this is F Gaming with episode 2, match number 1, with modern Sultai teachings in the modern format, playing FFZZMTG's list still. We're still working on learning the deck, so no need to start messing with the various cards. Even the decks that have been performing well not in his hands are pretty much carbon copies of his list. As far as what the deck's trying to do, you're trying to accelerate out Wilderness Reclamation with the use of a card like Growth Spiral. Use Cryptic Command and Mystical Teachings to get ahead over the course of the game, and then win with either Nexus of Fate loops and beating down with Snapcaster Mages and Creeping Tar Pits, or getting all three, drawing your entire deck with Blue Sun Zenith, getting a large Wilderness Reclamation to play, and then just Blue Sunning your opponent out of the game with 30-40 mana, Blue Sun Zenith, make them draw their entire deck. Beyond that, you're using a bunch of instant cards to stay alive to play with Mystical Teachings. Nexus Fate allows you to take multiple turns, not necessarily infinite unless you draw your entire deck with Zenith, and Nexus and Zenith are the only cards that are left. Beyond that, you're trying to use Remand, Cryptic Command, and some various removal spells in the form of Fatal Push, Devour Flesh, Abrupt Decay, Assassin's Trophy to stay alive until you can get to that point. Cantripping through your deck with cards like Opt, Remand, Growth Spiral to try to find your Wilderness Reclamation, Mystical Teachings combo. And beyond that, Snapcaster Mage gives you a lot of utility with your Cryptic Commands and such, and then that's pretty much the main deck. I mean, you got a bunch of 1-0 Spell Snare, Assassin's Trophy, Abrupt Decay. Abrupt Decay is a pretty good catch-all against a lot of permanents. Assassin's Trophy obviously kills everything, with a bit of a drawback of giving your opponent land. Devour Flesh is pretty good against Death Shadow. Bogles, a lot of decks that are relying on one or two key creatures to win the game. Allows you to have utility against Hexproof, against, this kills all the Death Shadows your opponent has. Fatal Push, pretty good against the smaller creatures. You can trigger Revolt sometimes in this deck, but you only have 2, 3, 4... How many actual fetch lands? 2, 6, 7 fetch lands. So triggering Revolt isn't always easy, so this is more useful against the smaller creature decks. And then Pulse of Marasa to regrow your Snapcaster Mages and gain you some life. Can also get you some lands. If you're like on your 3rd land drop and you need to find your 4th to start setting up Wilderness Reclamation. And then a 1-of Logic Knot to kind of, complement the rest of your counterspell package. As a friendly reminder, if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing, giving us a thumbs up, and leaving a constructive comment down below. Now onto the sideboard. In the sideboard, you've got Ceremonious Rejection for any type of colorless decks, Tron, any of the Hardened Scales decks, the War deck that's floating around, a couple Dispels for anything when you're trying to protect yourself. This is pretty good in combination with protecting your Wilderness Reclamation against some of the control decks. Nimble is also pretty good against Burn and some of the other combo decks in the format, like Ad Nauseam. Nimble Obstruction is pretty good when you need a Stifle effect for, various fetch triggers, etc. Can stop Eldrazi's in the Tron matchup, Ulamog from exiling lands, etc. Surgical Extraction and Crypt Incursion against the various graveyard decks, especially Extraction against, things like Dredge, things like Tron and such can come in and pair with your Assassin's Trophy or your 1-up Field of Ruin, knock your opponent off Tron. Fatal Push and Echoing Decay for the smaller creature decks. Fatal Push, obviously your best removal spell in those matchups. Echoing Decay, pretty good when your opponent's playing multiple spells, like Arc-like Phoenix and such. Crypt Incursion, we already were touched on, pretty good against the graveyard decks, Dredge and such, Arc-like Phoenix decks. Hero's Downfall, when you need another clean answer to Planeswalkers besides Assassin's Trophy. Consume the Meek for the various Swarm decks, the Spirits, Humans, Goblins, anything with converted mana cost 3 or less. Life Goes On, this is pretty much for the Burn deck, but can come in a lot of other aggressive matchups. You can set up loops with Snapcaster Mage, kill a creature, or block with Snapcaster Mage, gain 8 life. Shadow of Doubt comes in against anything where there's a lot of searching. Decks like Amulet, decks like Titan Shift, decks like basically any type of Primeval Titan deck, or any type of deck that's trying to do a lot of searching. Can even come in against the Whir deck, stop their Whir of Invention from doing stuff. And Fracturing Gust is kind of your KO card against anything with artifacts and enchantments. Good against Bogles, good against the Whir Prison decks, good against the reintroduction of the KCI wannabe decks, whole bunch of other stuff this catches, and just kind of a KO card. But notably, it does kill your Wilderness Reclamations, so be kind of careful when you use this card. That said, let's hop into a match here. Let's see, constructed tournaments, queues. Let us do a 2-man queue. Not confident enough to jump with this deck into a full league yet. This is a deck that does have a kind of steep learning curve. You know, you gotta set up a lot of moving pieces, sequencing your spells correctly. So commentating isn't quite as interesting during these matchups for the time being until I get a better handle on, what the deck's trying to do. I've played already 3 matches with it. 2 matches were kind of nonsense. The third match was against Skred. Skred's kind of a slower mid-range deck, so a deck that this kind of deck should prey upon, as long as we can beat Blood Moon. And then we beat a Boros Kiln Fiend deck, which is kind of a burn deck, but also like a combo deck, so our removal spells were much more impactful in that matchup. Having access to all these fatal pushes and kill spells post board in addition to the remains and such, really slowed down our opponent. And then we played against Mono Green Belcher, which is kind of a gimmicky deck that's been featured sometimes on Jeff Hoogland's channel. So I was kind of familiar with the deck was trying to set up. And obviously one card combo decks are pretty easy to beat. So, but finally got a match, so let's get rolling. This hand's decent if our opponent is on a creature deck, so I think we'll go ahead and keep. Oh, alright. So, a couple different decks this could be. Wilderness Reclamation's nice. This could be a burn deck, this could be... No bolt. Alright, so... Question is, do I just Fatal Push that, or do I Devour Flush that? Go ahead and grab... Devour your flesh. Okay. So maybe we're just playing against just blue-white or blue-red control instead of... No, I don't think blue-red control plays Thought Scour. Just a one of random Snapcaster Mage? Sure. The question is, do I trophy this stupid thing, or just kind of let them do their thing? Feels like it was just a random one of Snapcaster Mage. Yep. Arclight Phoenix confirmed. So what do I even grab here? A lot of different things we could grab. Let's grab a cryptic this round. Should have attacked with Creeping Tar Pit there. Wilderness Reclamation. Now things really get stupid. That into play. Go to my end step. Flashback teachings. Grab a last copy of Mystical Teachings. Should have kept a black mana up, I guess. So now I have mana for Trophy plus Cryptic Command. At this point, we're going to Trophy the Phoenix. Turn target permanent to its owner's hand, draw a card. Blue. Alright, so do this. Trigger. Trigger. Nexus of Fate. Mystical Teachings. Grab Blue Sun's Zenith. Draw 7. Alright, so move to end step here. Untap. Untap. Next is a fate. And our opponent conceded. Alright. Opponent complaining. Alright, so against Phoenix, interested in crypt incursion, interested in surgical extraction. Dispels wouldn't be terrible. Rejection, no. Obstructionist, E. Fatal push, maybe. Echoing decay. Deece against Phoenix. Life goes on. Shadow of doubt. See, Jared, the collie, is up and moving. How nice of him. Spell Snare, quite a few targets in the deck. Devour Flesh isn't probably fantastic here. Fatal Push is probably reasonable against Thing in the Ice, though that might be too many things here. Our opponent has one copy of Snapcaster Mage randomly in their deck. Remain's not the best against them, so I guess we'll cut that as well. Like, I don't like bringing in a ton of graveyard hate. This hand is terrible. If this were a green sword, this hand would be fantastic, but I don't think we can keep this hand. Sure, I guess we'll keep that one. I say, Terramander would probably be scarier than any type of cantrip they could have here. Past our opponent here. We do have a bunch of clunky 4-mana spells, which kind of sucks. Looks like our opponent is taking their time spinning their wheels as well. Love to find... Alright, well, that's a reasonable card. So even if they manage to bring back all their phoenixes, we get to kindly return them to the graveyard from whence they came. Surgicals and Crackling Drake. Interesting. So the team's going to probably come down to this turn. Our opponent decides to try to cast a bunch of nonsense to get a, whatchamacallit, another Arclight Phoenix or two into play here. Going to bolt their own Phoenix here. Alright, I mean, this is kind of the game here. Does not appear our opponent has any style of sure. Don't think fighting them on the spell-based end of things is going to be useful too much. Keep pitching the surgical extractions. Obviously, if we hit a crypt incursion or something, it'd be amazing. Earth is this. Sure. Brought in all of their surgical extractions. Okay. Tap all creatures. Blue. Blue. And blue. Wilderness Reclamation. Expensive Divination. Should have been able to draw at least one more card here, though. Kill one of those. Okay. Could be dead if they have, like, double bolt here. I mean, they've seen enough cards. Do you have double bolt? See if our opponent does any more junk talking here. Man's probably a little bit better on the draw. Dispels might be okay-ish. Especially that, Actually, Remand. Life goes on. Card's tempting. sure we have at least some outs to Blood Moon. Alright, I mean, the sand isn't insane, but we do have cards we want to see, obviously, so. Love a chance to cycle this Remand here. Continue to dig deeper into our deck. Alright, so they're fetching Island. That might indicate... Alright, there's an Arclight Phoenix. That's annoying. Metamorphose. Remand that back to your hand. We have access to potentially Snapcaster Op next turn, should we decide to do that. Once again, continue to slow them down here. Fatal Push, obviously not the greatest, but not terrible here either. Yeah, Opt is fine. It's kind of funny, our opponent's playing this as a skill game, and I'm playing a... Alright. Sure, I'll just resolve. Snapcaster Mage. And if you want a surgical, that's fine. Looks like the answer is they don't have a surgical. Shock that in. One of Spell Snare here. Perfect. Echoing Decay, not a terrible draw. Probably should have just cryptic did this. Sweet. So I got to crack that, have cryptic back up, and hit you for 4. Seems pretty good. Sure. Wow. Okay. Fair enough, fair enough. Alright. Really need to find a... Well... Alright. Rest of their hands pretty much garbage, but in the end it may not matter. So we really need to find mystical teachings this turn. Otherwise, we might just be DED dead here. Give the bolt. Apparently not. Sure. Wilderness Reclamation coming a little too late there. So, we got out efficient and surgical extracted out of the game kind of there. So, I think if we'd been able to hold on to Cryptic Command, we very well might have won that game, but our opponent was able to position us with Blood Moon plus whatever plus surgical. You know, kind of hard to outmaneuver those situations. So there is some risk to playing Mystical Teachings base decks in the format, especially when people know what cards to attack exactly. So, anyways, this has been episode 2, match number 1. This has been Dust for Dust on Gaming. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.